The conflict involving Israel, the United States, and Iran has sent ripples far beyond the borders of the Middle East, creating a complex web of consequences for nations currently observing from the sidelines. Russia finds itself in a particularly nuanced position. On one hand, the close military and strategic partnership Moscow shares with Tehran means that any significant degradation of Iranian infrastructure or leadership could hinder Russia's own operational successes in Ukraine, where it has relied on Iranian technology such as the Shahed drones. On the other hand, the geopolitical instability has driven global oil prices to dramatic highs. As a major energy exporter, Russia stands to reap massive financial windfalls from these elevated prices, effectively padding its national budget and funding its own military objectives despite the risks to its partner.
This is not the first time we have encountered things of this kind. What is surprising is only that this worsens the situation on world markets, on gas markets, including, in this case, primarily for Europe.
China is observing the theater of war with a cold, analytical eye, viewing it as a rare laboratory to test the effectiveness of its latest satellite and electronic warfare technologies against Western systems. Beyond the technical data, Beijing sees a massive economic opening. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China expects to become the primary architect of Iran's reconstruction once the dust settles, further cementing its influence in the region. Furthermore, there is a strategic hope in Beijing that the sheer scale of the US and Israeli strikes will serve as a deterrent to other Asian nations. By witnessing the high cost of maintaining a contested nuclear program, countries like Japan and South Korea might be less inclined to pursue their own nuclear deterrents for fear of facing a similar devastating military intervention. India and Turkey remain in a precarious balancing act, watching for ways to navigate the fallout while protecting their own rapid economic growth. As countries that maintain functional relationships with all parties involved, the countries are concerned about the safety of their massive diaspora in the Gulf and the stability of its energy imports. However, Turkey and India see an opportunity to position themselves as stabilizing middle power and a potential alternative manufacturing hub if global supply chains shift away from more volatile areas. A recent reflection of this was NATO's interception of a ballistic missile fired from Iran that was about to enter Turkey's airspace. Turkey has demonstrated caution with the issue, indicating that they are looking forward to a de-escalation and a resumption of peace in the Middle East. Similarly, European countries are caught between their security alliances with the United States and the desperate need to prevent a total energy collapse or a new wave of regional migration that could destabilize the continent's internal politics.
War has been remote, something that concerns us deeply, but which happens far away. But now, we feel the solidity of peace. The very ground that we stand on, softening under our feet.
The impact on the African continent is perhaps the most immediate in terms of daily survival. Many nations across East and Southern Africa are heavily dependent on oil imports that travel through the Gulf and along the Indian Ocean coast. Countries such as Kenya and South Africa are meticulously tracking the movement of oil tankers toward their ports, knowing that any disruption in the shipping lanes or a further spike in crude prices could paralyze the national and regional energy sectors and trigger runaway inflation. For these countries, the war is not a distant political struggle but a direct threat to food security and economic stability, as the cost of transport and basic goods is inextricably linked to the volatility of the Persian Gulf.